take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Can the dead manipulate electronic devices? Can they reach back through the fabric of space and time from wherever they are and influence the workings of communication devices? To leave one last message, to say one last goodbye. The phenomenon of a phone call from the dead occurs when a person who is allegedly dead makes a phone call to a loved one. As fantastic as it seems, the mystery of phone calls from the dead is not an uncommon one. Those who have researched the phenomenon have determined that these calls usually occur within the first 24 hours of death. But there have been cases in which the calls were received many years later. The call is usually filled with heavy static, and the phantom caller's voices faint as if far away. Many of the ghost phone call stories we may hear about are usually from a time before caller ID and cell phones. But one recent story had caller ID, which let the recipient know exactly who was calling. The story begins with an horrific train crash in San Fernando Valley that killed 25 people on September 12, 2008.
Looking here soon at live pictures of a train collision near Los Angeles that we're told killed at least 4 people and reportedly injured dozens, many of them critically. At this hour, some passengers are still trapped inside. Around 4:30 p.m. local time, a Metrolink commuter train from Los Angeles filled with people heading home from work collided with a freight train in Chatsworth. That's a suburb about 20 miles from Los Angeles. One Metrolink car derailed and a fire broke out.
Among those killed was Charles Peck, a 49-year-old man with a fiancée and 2 children. He died on impact. Search and rescue were not able to immediately find his body. However, in the 11 hours following the crash, 35 phone calls went out to loved ones from Charles Peck's cell phone. Searches for Charles Peck were guided by the phone calls, as authorities managed to trace one of the calls to the wreck. Eventually, they were able to locate his body in the first train car 12 hours after the crash.
Their friendship turned to love. She was on her way to pick him up from the Metrolink station when she heard the news on the radio. She knew immediately he was on that train, but was he alive? And then they got the first call. It was to Chuck's son in Utah.
And he said, "My dad just called me." And I said, "What did he say? Where is he? Is he okay?" He didn't say anything. The phone rang and it said, "Dad."
They watched the tormenting search for survivors, certain that Chuck was alive and trapped in the wreckage. Between Chuck's kids and other family members, about 36 calls were made from Chuck's phone, but there was only static and silence. And then, almost 5 hours after the collision, at 9:08, Andrea got a call.
And we were yelling in the phone, hang in there, baby. We're going to get you out. You're going to be okay.
It was the hope they needed. And when the rescue efforts were about to turn to recovery, there was another call. And that prompted search crews to trace it. It was coming from the first train. So they went back in one last time.
And they were so excited. They had this incredible adrenaline rush at the thought that they could possibly go find another survivor. And we gave her a description, and they spent the next couple of hours looking for him. And they did end up finding him, and they said that he had died immediately on impact, and there was no way he could have been calling us.
She believes those phone calls got them through the night and helped them find Chuck's body.
The intellectual side of my brain thinks, gee, it was a computer malfunction, and the emotional side of my brain it was just Chuck letting us know that he knew that we were scared for him and letting us have hope.
And she's also comforted by the fact that they were happy, ready to get married and start their new life together. She believes he was riding that train with a smile.
He died instantly and he didn't suffer. And when you love somebody, you couldn't ask for a better way for them to leave this life. Just happy and excited and didn't see it coming.
His phone had only stopped calling an hour before the discovery. Peck's family never heard the sound of his voice or anything other than static. They held on to the belief that he was alive in the wreckage and used the short calls as an opportunity to send Charles encouraging words. How were they getting these calls? Could the phone be malfunctioning due to damage from the accident? Or was Charles Peck really trying to reach out? It's not just phones either. People have reported strange phenomena from emails and social media platforms like Facebook. One Reddit user created a post with picture evidence about how he was receiving strange messages from his dead girlfriend who had died in a car accident months before. However, the messages mostly seemed to be repeated from other messages that had been sent in the past, which could have been a result of the Facebook algorithm and messaging app malfunctioning in a cruel way. Even more creepy was the fact that his dead girlfriend's account was even tagging herself in pictures with him at seemingly empty areas next to him. What do you think? Are the dead really trying to reach out? Or could there be some scientific explanation for this phenomenon? Let me know in the comments below if you have any similar stories you would like to share.